Received a wonderful question today in email from a viewer who asked, what are the signs that a person is going to run out of money in retirement? Now, I've done hundreds, possibly thousands of retirement plans in my 10-year career, and it's part art, part science, it's quantitative and qualitative, and I've learned to tell with a fair degree of certainty whether someone is going to run out of money or not. So, what are the 5 signs that someone is going to run out of money? Stay with me. So, retirement planning, it's always at least several days of preparation and then a 90-minute to 2-hour appointment. There are certain documents that I request from the clients, such as 401k statements, Social Security statements, any savings that are dedicated for retirement, outside investment accounts. And we have pretty powerful software that we utilize to be able to tell if a person is ready for retirement. But for a good financial advisor, that is only part of the picture. Odds are, if I'm doing your retirement planning, I know you pretty well. I've worked with you for a period of time before retirement. I know you, your personality, your situation, your family, and that is a factor in whether someone is going to be able to retire or not. So there's the hard facts, the numbers, but what are some of the things that I look for in a person, in their personality, that tell me that they are ready for retirement or they are going to struggle in retirement? So first things first, and this usually happens immediately within 6 months to a year after the person officially retires. If the person has very large withdrawals outside of the systematic withdrawals, that's a big indicator that they're going to run into trouble at some point with their retirement plan. Even the most sophisticated software has difficulty projecting for those unexpected expenses that can happen in life. The roof leaks, your car is totaled and you need to buy a new car. You have to have your fillings all replaced all at once. You have to buy a hearing aid. Something comes out of left field and a pipe bursts in your home and suddenly there's flooding. Our simulators and our retirement planning software can't necessarily predict when or how that is going to happen. I've also said this several times in several other videos. It also depends on the sequence of returns and when and how large withdrawals happen. If large withdrawals need to happen in a retirement account, I'd rather those large withdrawals come at age 90 than 1 year after your retirement, simply because having a large unexpected withdrawal so close to your date of retirement has ripple effects. That money is taken out of your account, is no longer posting returns, is gone and gone forever. And when someone withdraws $10,000 additional outside of their systematic withdrawals, probably 35 years on, that would have been anywhere from $120,000 to $150,000, and that money is just gone to the ether forever. So something that is a red flag to me that this retirement is possibly in jeopardy is in the first 6 months of the year, outside of the systematic withdrawals we set up. Like, let's say we're going to do $6,000 a month. This person comes back 2 or 3 times and asks for withdrawals of $10,000 to cover unexpected expenses. The reality is this person should have a savings account outside of their retirement account to handle large unexpected expenses. There's some indicators that a person is going to do this prior to retirement if they're retiring with no savings account. If they are constantly basically have no sort of net to catch them in the event of the emergency, what they're going to do is end up using their retirement account as an emergency account. And a 401k or IRA account is not an emergency account, should never be used as an emergency account. It is an account that we take out systematic withdrawals so that they can sustain their lifestyle. So indicator number 1, there's large withdrawals the first year that are not planned for or accounted for. That's a big red flag for me that the person potentially is going to run out of money at some point in the future. The second indicator that the person is going to have a problem in retirement and may run out of money at some point in the future is the person has a precarious relationship with debt. They have always had credit cards and never paid them off. They've always had cars and never paid them off. They've managed to roll debts from 3 cars ago into their current car. They're constantly paying the minimum on credit cards. It's really important to go into retirement as debt free as possible. The only potentially acceptable form of debt is a mortgage, and we have to kind of look at that. In retirement, ideally, the home should be paid off, but few Americans have their homes paid off by the time they retire. Anytime I see someone that has had a history of a precarious relationship with debt and never really reconciled that, that's an indicator to me that this person is going to experience trouble in retirement. Why? Because they're likely going to keep accruing debt in retirement. And it invariably happens. If a person had, unpaid balances, rollovers of debt, etc., before while they were in their working career, and they never really resolved that element of their financial behavior, that financial behavior follows them right into retirement. And what I've seen in a handful of cases, which is really dangerous, is you see people who are very late in life, like in their late 70s, early 80s, who get their hands on a credit card and end up running up the credit card to the hilt. And, by this time, this person, because of poor financial management, they may not have any money left in savings or in their 401k or IRA. And basically, they're trying to balance these credit cards just on Social Security, which is an absolute calamity when that happens. But you really have to look at your relationship with debt. You should pay your credit cards off each and every month. Your car should be paid off. You shouldn't be opening up new credit cards or switching around balances to rob Peter to pay Paul. By the time you retire, you should have all of your revolving debt paid off, and you should have yourself reconciled that you're not going to carry revolving debt into retirement in the future. Third thing that's a strong indicator to me that this person may not make it in retirement are adult children. And it depends on the retiree's relationship with their adult children. I like to see retirement come in at a point where your adult children are self-sufficient. If your kid is 18, you're expecting to help them through college, it's probably best to look to the other side of that experience, meaning when they graduate, to officially retire from your job. Retirement while a kid in college is really hard to pull off. If your child is going to need help in their early 20s, it's probably best to work a few years while the kid's in the early 20s to help them get on their feet. The problem comes into play when you have adult children that should be financially self-sufficient who are not, who are steadily depending on the parents for money, and the parents constantly give them money. I've seen adult children completely shred and torpedo their parents' retirement because they see their parents as a backup bank to their own financial needs. And for whatever reason, the relationship with their parents is complicated, and the parent cannot tell the child, no, I will not be giving you any more money. I'm not helping you out. Please look to other sources to bail yourself out of this financial mess. So a big indicator to me that a person is going to struggle in retirement is an unresolved or complicated relationship with adult children, where the adult children constantly look to parents to bail them out or provide financial support or give them money long past an age where that really is viable. Number 4 is retirement that happens too early, or a retirement born out of frustration, or a retirement with no plan. I've already given my views on early retirement. Unless someone has extenuating circumstances or extraordinary set of circumstances come together, that usually doesn't work out too well. I've also had people retire in frustration. The job is really difficult. They've been having issues with the job for some time. We've talked about them just looking for another position in their field. They got really angry one day and they came in, quit, and said that they were retired. And they come to my office in a huff, talking about how they left their job. They don't want to go find another job. They are officially retired. I'm always very shocked when people do that. It's happened maybe a handful of times in my career, but it's like you just decided on a random Tuesday you were done and you were going to retire. We've been planning this for years. We said you were going to work another 5 or 10 years, but you just got angry with your boss or coworker or whoever at your job and decide that you are now officially retired. It doesn't really work that way. All retirement projections have to be done And if someone retires 5 or 10 years early, it really does change everything. And so if you do have a very frustrating job, or you do have an untenable situation in your workplace, it's always better, especially if you are 50 and over, where ageism really becomes an issue. It's always best to design your exit on your terms so that you don't get to the point where you're so angry that you quit in just raw anger. It may take you a little bit longer to find your next job because of ageism or because of your field, but it's always best to do it on your own terms. And so one of the questions I always ask my clients when they come to my office or when they're in an appointment is, how's the job? How are you feeling about the job? And I look for indicators that this person is not happy in their job. And especially if they're over 50, or especially if they're in fields like technology, which are notoriously ageist, I really encourage them often to pair with a career coach so they can plan their transition out on their own terms and they don't end up quitting in a huff or retiring in a huff. Also, people who retire with no plan scare me. They come in 5 minutes before they're supposed to retire to my office, and they tell me that they're ready to retire, and it's like, you should have come to see me 5 years ago. Like, what do you mean you're going to retire? You haven't run your numbers. You haven't looked at any of the information of your company's retirement plan. You haven't. People just don't do this. You just don't come in someone's financial advisor's office 5 minutes before you retire and tell them that you're retiring, and come what may. It really does require years of planning, and I really do encourage you, if you are 5 years plus out from retirement, it's the perfect time to really establish a relationship with a financial advisor and have them work up a plan with you going forward. You can't do this 5 minutes before you are about to put in your notice of retirement at your job. Next indicator that a person's probably going to have problems and run out of money in retirement is that they live up to the hilt and beyond. No matter what systematic withdrawal they have, it's just not enough. They're taking out $6,000 a month. They're spending $7,000 a month. They're taking out $8,000 a month. They're spending $10,000 a month. They simply cannot rein in their spending to meet the new reality of being retired. And typically, anywhere from 3 to 5 years before retirement, there's kind of a sequence of events where people kind of shift up their habits or financially start preparing themselves for retirement. We need to take a look at savings and make sure you have adequate savings. I ask about your car. How old is your car? If your car is 15 years old and on your last leg, it's probably best to get a new car now and pay it off by the time you're retired versus trying to get a new car in retirement. We ask about home repairs. Is the house in major need of repairs? It's probably best to do that while you're working versus when you are retirement, because you have income to pay off whatever repairs that you need for your home. But people who live up to the hilt typically were living up to the hilt as they were working, and they were constantly robbing people to pay Paul or moving balls around to keep things going. Or sometimes I have clients who had just an extraordinarily high salary. They were earning $500,000 a year when they were working, but they cannot spend $500,000 a year in retirement. And maybe they only have $12,000 a month to spend in retirement, and they really, really struggle to bring down their lifestyle from spending, $30,000 a month to spending $12,000 a month, and they're continuously overspending. That's a huge red flag and an indicator to me that this person could possibly run out of money. So there you have it. Those are more qualitative indicators. The numbers can tell me one thing. I have to use my own good judgment and my own experience to say there's something the numbers are not indicating here. There's other concerns that I have that I need to address directly with clients. Those are the 5 big indicators to me that this person quite possibly could run out of money. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. If you found this information useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.